Deus Ex Human Revolution is the prequel to Ion Storm's 2000 action role-playing game Deus Ex. It takes place 25 years prior, telling the tale of Adam Jensen, the head of security of a cybernetic enhancement company, Seraph Industries. Before I get into the actual plot, I have to talk about the plot revealed to us by Eidos's various marketing campaigns. This is important because such advertisements alter our perceptions and expectations of a product before we consume it. Marketing is an exercise in appealing to a certain type of client, in this case the gamer. Deus Ex gamers are seeking the traditional multipath problem-solving gameplay and spy mysteries which revolve around worldwide conspiracy and the struggle over humanity's growth as a species. At the 2011 San Diego Comic-Con, while other fans of gaming were busy swinging their plastic armbands voting for their favorite female racial cyber Jesus, Eidos Montreal held a panel and were giving out t-shirts, provided an audience member asked a question. It was held by Eidos Montreal's community manager, Kyle Stalick, lead writer and narrative designer, Mary DeMarle, and Will Rossellini, the CEO of Microtransponder, who was the consultant on designing realistic augmentations in the game. Panels like this are nothing new, but when the topic is cybernetics, a fundamental theme in the story, and the storytellers are trying to make the fantasy world a credible one, it is a very important and interesting look at the potential future real-world challenges that these literary themes of man versus himself and machine involve. According to Rossellini, these challenges are already upon a few of us.
The government is building robotic prosthetic limbs to hook directly into soldiers' nervous systems that have had an amputation in Iraq. So they've been working on that since 2005. They've had 15 people or so approximately implanted with the robotic limb. It's called the Revolutionizing Prosthetics Program, and we should have an FDA-approved device where you could have an amputation replaced and have active implantable utilization by about 2014.
The Deus Ex gamer is nothing unique, but the story surrounding the game deals specifically with one hard science fiction theme. It also deals with global conspiracy theories in a near-future reality, all within an inspired cyberpunk genre, specifically referenced as a cyber renaissance. This is a much more sophisticated story, so we have to look at how effective the marketing is in showcasing these big, complex ideas in a simplistic manner. If it can't be done simply, we can already determine the story will become a surrealistic rambling of man versus machine with its own various stylistic permutations, leaving us empty and disconnected from any kind of human reality. Luckily, the marketing does not do that. The DeusEx.com website involved various social media unlocks. It encouraged web users to like their Facebook page, and after a certain number of likes, a media clip of sound, music, imagery, or video was viewable on the site. Nothing really to write home about here, but it kept people coming back and encouraged users to get their friends to join up. A North American QR campaign called QR Mission, which is a mobile app, gave users the opportunity to win real-world prizes and in-game rewards. Again, nothing special. The development team also used an active Tumblr account, which is a form of microblogging, and had posts by the developers and artists directly answering questions by fans. This isn't exactly marketing, but fan feedback and developer diaries are essential for successful products, especially in the gaming industry. Since they were building a shooter-style game, it's always nice to know that the developers went to a shooting range and fired real guns.
The first thing I realized, I was expecting the recoil to go straight back, but in fact it went up, and it really got me by surprise.
I thought it was like the kickback would be really powerful, really almost not painful, but kinda completely different, easy.
The most entertaining feedback were done by YouTube videos from the game's art director, Jonathan Jacques Belatet, or JJB. Some questions did involve the story, and JJB talked to Mira DeMarle on a few occasions to clarify on questions such as, will augmenting Adam impact the storyline? There was a 6-part comic book that came out, which is a side story that takes place during the events of the main plot. The augmented edition of the game came with a motion version of it. Whether you like Western comics or not, two things were clear. The writer, Robbie Morrison, did an excellent job at summarizing the story and characters, doing so clearly and succinctly, and thus having a well-told plot. This page alone tells us so much about the issues and motivations of the protagonist, his history, and his frame of mind. And then there's my favorite campaign of them all, the Seraph Industries full-screen flash website. This site belongs to the fictional company who performs cybernetic enhancement, also referred to as transhumanism, or human augmentation. Aside from a large amount of info and detail into the types of augmentations, the news, the real-time stock prices, even a hacking minigame, which is similar to the real game that unlocks some odd media content, there were a series of advertising and interview-style videos made from real actors playing both amputee and go-getter and talking about their augmentation and generally how great augmentations are. As charming and light-hearted as they were, there is a slight egotistical tint in some of the actors to these ads, which plays along with the ethical dilemma that transhumanism brings. The website ends up getting hijacked or hacked by an anti-transhumanism group called Purity First, who do the equivalent of online graffiti, essentially scribbling out the various text and graphical items on the page and overlaying them with somewhat shocking imagery. It appears there is a dark underside to the world of human augmentation, a drug dependency, which is hopefully to be a major conflict in the story, as well as a general hatred and fear of those who conduct it, namely Seraph Industries. There's also a very well done video showcasing this rebellious group's message, which displays a number of riots, addictive drug-related behaviors, and supposed hidden military involvement in the industry. All of this paints a very colorful picture to the social world that human augmentation revolves, a commercial, pleasant side for the ambitious and the disabled, and the orthodox conservative response to protecting the natural manner of the human condition. And then there are the trailers. In the reveal trailer, there is this dream imagery or concept of a scene from the Renaissance that our character who has been reborn and has become Icarus. This classically symbolizes man's efforts of pushing themselves too far. The difficulty in simply taking a luxurious drink showcases Adam's struggle with his humanity, or potentially the lack thereof. Heck, they should have gotten JJB to sign up JB to combine a few industries while they were at it. And then the first plot reveal.
I never asked for this.
And the second?
If you want to make enemies, try to change something.
The E3 2010 trailer had the same content from the previous trailer, but only in more detail. This reveals quite simply the protagonist is trying to change something, like the status quo, and there will be those against that change as evidenced by the Icarus symbolism. We then get a lot more setting.
The year is 2027.
Its scope and political world,
It's also a time of chaos and conspiracy.
and the first supposedly personal major conflict, that the protagonist's place in the world is unknown.
I don't even know whose side I'm on.
We then get further scope of the conflict and more plot as we learn the protagonist is reluctant, that he is doing this out of potential desperation or of being a victim to his circumstances.
I never had a choice of what happened to me.
Even more characterization,
The body may heal. The mind is not always so resilient.
and then there's the secondary theme.
Everyone's fighting for power, for control.
Then a cacophony of violence and action scenes, and even more plot, a quest for someone.
I'll never stop looking.
Suffice to say, this was a hell of a trailer. In the House of Revenge trailer, well, we get even more plot. It's revenge, it's in the title. And there's the revenge. Our protagonist appears to be killed or almost dead. We then get more characterization.
David speaks very highly of you. He says that when it comes to detective work, you are like a dog with a bone.
We get a further scope of the plot as a global conspiracy.
These men, they control global interests at a whim.
A potential main opposition, or at least a opposition as a result of scientific discovery.
You cannot stop them. Megan was on the brink of something historic.
And to top it off, there's the death of a loved one or from one who loves.
I love you.
The TGS trailer shows us the main opposition is more than human, that they're like the protagonist.
They're more than human. They are like you.
It is also hinted that the potential main plot or main conflict has a mysterious source.
All the hate, all the violence, all the lies. All of it has a source. And they are tearing this world apart.
And we get a further scope and seriousness to the stakes of the world.
It's not the end of the world, but you can see it from here.
And if you still couldn't figure out what the character, plot, premise, or themes were all about, they actually had a long PSA-style trailer going into matter-of-factly detail.
In Deus Ex Human Revolution, you play Adam Jensen, ex-SWAT and Chief of Security for Seraph Industries, a leading company in the controversial field of human augmentation.
Now, these trailers and videos are simply filled with amazing imagery and sounds, themes, conflicts, characterizations, plots, and ideas that are serious, personal, and part of hard science fiction. They are quite amazing. And one of the comments of supposedly a viewer that changed their major in university from the fine arts to biomedical engineering. This is some serious, amazing, influential media that Eidos Montreal has produced. This is the kind of stuff that science fiction is really all about. So, suffice to say, they made an amazing campaign showcasing some beautiful ideas along with plots and other literary components. So they definitely have a very tall order to live up to. And as all harsh realities are, sadly, the reality does not meet expectations of a simple, concise, well-developed plot.